What often stops us in our tracks when we're facing problems is that we can't see a clear solution. We can't see a way past the problems, the obstacles, the challenges, the issues, because we're so stuck in the obstacles that are standing in our way. Welcome to a new season of Leadership Live podcast, where talented people become extraordinary leaders. I'm Daphna Horowitz, and I'm here to help you cut through the noise and talk about real leadership issues. Down to earth, solid, caring and confident leadership. No theory, no pie in the sky, no frills or fluff. Because this is what the world needs most right now. For you to lead with confidence, clarity and impact so that you can build a business that builds people, grows profit and makes a difference. What if a miracle occurred while you were sleeping? Yes, today we're talking about miracles, and I am going to introduce you to a concept called the miracle question. Now, personally, I love the miracle question. I'm an eternal optimist. For those of you who know me, you'll know that. And I use it in various forms when working with clients. And today I want to give you a little bit of background about it and actually invite you to jump in and try it for yourself. We are living in challenging times at the moment, and this is exactly when the miracle question can come in and get you out of the funk and add some inspiration, momentum, lightheartedness, and fun into your day. Before I tell you what it is, I'd like to give you a bit of background on it. The miracle question is based on solution-focused therapy models, and credit given to two therapists who designed the models and the type of therapy. And they happen to be married. Their names are Steve DeShazer and Insoo Kim Berg. And the idea of solution-focused therapy is that it focuses on what you want to achieve. It helps you to look from today forward, and it helps you to set goals and move towards achieving them rather than looking at the past and focusing on all the events and experiences that got you to this point today. It also forms a big part of how coaching works and the coaching process, and it encourages you to look forward and continuously be making progress and movement towards your goals. So totally in line with what I love to do. And it's actually a really cool tool because it's a simple question that can have a powerful impact. It has a great name, the miracle question, which arouses some curiosity for me already. It's creative, it's bold, it can be very healing, and it allows you to imagine a miracle. So I know maybe for you skeptics out there, you're thinking, oh, miracles. But if I can encourage you to just bear with me for today's episode and see how you can play with it, but think outside the box, allow yourself to do something different, and you'll see how it can really open up your thinking. And imagining a miracle means that you are actually allowing your brain to go into new places, to use some new neural synapses, and a best case scenario can really help you create the impossible. And I believe in that because I have seen over and over again how the things that we can least expect to happen when we open ourselves up, when we think differently, when we start talking differently, and we start being different, then things that we never expect, that we thought were almost impossible, actually happen. I'm going to even direct you to a wonderful story that I wrote about in my blog not so long ago about the impossible goal. So go and have a read about that. So let's go for it. Are you ready? The miracle question. Here it is. I'm going to ask you to listen as I ask this question. Keep an open mind and just play along with me. Treat it like a game. Allow your mind to imagine and go to places that might be even a little bit strange and weird and funny. But think about all the possible answers that come up for you without judging them or trying to make them realistic. We are really talking about an imagination exercise here and really talking about imagining a miracle. So here it is, the miracle question. Suppose that tonight you go about your regular nighttime routine. You brush your teeth, you get ready for bed, and you do your regular things that you do before you go to bed. And then, while you're sleeping, a miracle occurs. And the problems, challenges, and issues you're facing at the moment are all solved, just like that. But this happens while you're sleeping, so you don't know what happened, you just know that it happened. So once you wake up in the morning, how will you go about discovering that this miracle has happened to you? What would be some of the things that you would notice that would tell you your life had suddenly got better? So press pause for a moment at this place and think about what are the things you'd notice that make your life different now that a miracle has happened. This can relate to any area: work, personal life, relationships, business, teams, wherever you feel like you could use a miracle. Let yourself imagine, think about what would be different had the miracle happened. So I'm going to invite you now to go ahead, press pause, write down some of the things that come up for you. What would be different? And I'll still be here when you come back, no worries. Press pause, go ahead, and let's do it. Imagine, think, write, and give yourself some time. Okay, so you're back. How was that for you? Hopefully you've had some good insights around what would be different in your life. How would you know that a miracle occurred? You can even think about how would others know? How would your best friend know that a miracle occurred in your life? Now, I want to describe why I think it's a powerful question, and then we can look at how to go to a deeper level with it and even some examples. So why is this powerful? First and foremost, it allows you to look and think right past your challenges right now. What often stops us in our tracks when we're facing problems is that we can't see a clear solution. We can't see a way past the problems, the obstacles, the challenges, the issues, because we're so stuck in the obstacles that are standing in our way. And we are so connected to a certain way that it has to work out, about whether it's about being realistic, whether it's about what's possible and what's not possible, that we look for plausible solutions rather than get really creative and even consider the stuff that seems impossible. And the truth is that the most creative solutions and the most different and unique solutions come when we allow ourselves to expand our thinking beyond what we believe is possible in this current moment. So I love this quote that is attributed to Einstein, and he says that you can't solve problems with the same level of thinking that created them in the first place. And this is exactly what we tend to do. We tend to take the mindset or approach that created the problem or landed us in the problem and use that same mindset to come up with a solution. And that often doesn't work. It's not usually the thing or the way that's going to get us to a powerful solution. Usually we have to think differently, even just by talking with someone or brainstorming or, going for a run or a sleep workout. We need to remove ourselves from the situation in order to really come up with a better and a different way of thinking about it and to come up with creative alternatives. So let's look at an example here. I was talking recently to a client, a CEO, who was accused by one of his executives for withholding certain information and being dishonest. The CEO needed to process this accusation. When it came up, he didn't respond immediately, which was really a very clever thing to do. And he said, okay, let me just think about this for a minute. Let's set up some time he said to his executive, let's set up some time tomorrow to discuss the issue. I'm not quite sure what to do with it. Now, the CEO, who's my client, contacted me because he wanted to brainstorm how to handle the conversation. He was deeply hurt. He felt it was completely unjustified, of course. And the situation is that this executive had been a poor performer for a long time and was probably lashing out at some feedback that he was given. And he was just reacting in a very defensive way. But my client, the CEO, was really caught up in this accusation. It really triggered him, and he was really angry about it. So I asked him the miracle question. I said to him, suppose tonight you go to sleep at your regular time, you do your regular things, and then while you're sleeping, a miracle occurs, and this problem is solved just like that. But this happens while you're sleeping, so you don't know what happened, you just know that it happened. Once you wake up in the morning, what is different? What's occurred that you know a miracle has happened to you right away? Well, he answered that actually in the meeting, they'd be talking about how to create a way forward for both the executive and for him and the business, so that it's a win-win situation for both sides and everybody remains calm and happy and continues to achieve what they need to achieve in their life. He realized that he needed to help the executive see the situation on a bigger picture level and maybe even help him pursue new opportunities, and for the CEO himself to be able to run the business as he feels it should be running in a calm, productive, effective manner. And that would be the miracle for him. So the amazing thing that happened here is that all of a sudden, the issue wasn't about the accusation, about the dishonesty, or anything like that. The issue was actually a much bigger one that needed to be resolved and addressed for a long time already, but the CEO just kept pushing it aside because it was just a difficult thing to deal with in that moment, and he didn't really want to look at that stage. He just kept on putting it off. So he realized that if he could set aside his emotions about this particular situation, it would allow him to move forward and create a longer-term plan that would benefit everybody ultimately, both him, the executive, and the business. And then we spoke a little bit more and we decided that the focus of his conversation with the executive the next day would move away from the actual accusation and the issue to the much bigger picture, and really exploring with the executive, what does the executive really want? What does the CEO want and need? And how can they both move forward together towards a better outcome for both of them? So what I love about this is it really allows you to look past the here and now and the problem that is presenting in this moment and focus on a future that extends way beyond that. I believe that this is exactly what Einstein meant with that saying, that you can't use the same mindset that is focused on the creation of the problem to actually solve it. And I use this methodology or this tool in many different ways, because I have another tool that I use that I call the 5-3-1 timeline. And this is where, again, it takes you out of your current situation, current challenges, problems, wins, whatever it is, even the good stuff, and allows you to look further into the future, to imagine a different future, and then go back to today and build a plan for how this can work. What are the next steps? So my 5-3-1 timeline is really about, first of all, focusing on 5 years' time. What does your business, career, life, and relationships look like in 5 years' time? If you had to go into a time travel machine 5 years into the future, describe to me what's going on in your life, in your career, in your business at that time. We do a whole lot of exercise around, imagining and visioning around that. And then we bring it forward and we go, okay, let's answer the same question in 3 years' time. What does it look like then? And finally, we bring it forward to the 1 year from now. What does your business, life, relationships, career look like 1 year from today? And the thing there is that when you look 5 years ahead, it takes you out of the mind frame of what's going on today, and even could be out of the context of where you're at today, whether it's about constraints or capabilities, it doesn't really matter. It allows you to really dream. You forget about what's keeping your mind occupied in the here and now, and you allow yourself to see what can happen, what's possible. 3 years brings it more into the space of reality and what you can imagine having and doing. Often the context stays pretty similar. And then 1 year allows you to get really practical about what are the steps, what is the action plan that you need to take in the next year to help you achieve your 5-year vision and then your 3-year vision as well on the way. I'm interrupting this episode to share an absolutely wonderful free training and leadership toolkit my team and I have created, and we want you to just go and get it. So if you're a CEO and you're really good at what you do, but you're frustrated because you're constantly chasing deliverables or putting out fires, and you know that you can be doing even better and getting better results by building leadership habits to become confident, inspiring with a top performing team, then go and grab your free leadership toolkit and training at daphna.com/leadership toolkit. It's just a matter of creating leadership habits that serve you, your business, and your team to drive the results you want to see. I will show you how in this free training, so go and get it at daphna.com/leadership toolkit. And if you're ready to delve even deeper and find out about our CEO Habits Bootcamp launching in October, head on to daphna.com/CEO Bootcamp. I can't wait to see what this will do for you and your leadership and business results. Now, back to the show. And then, of course, I would recommend breaking it down once you've got your 1-year goal to quarterly goals and action plans. And the key question that you need to constantly be asking yourself is this in service of the 3 and the 5-year goals? And how is this in service of those goals? So it really does remind me of a story that I also often like to share, and that is one about it's an anecdote about a person who was walking down the street and he sees a building site and there's builders working on building something, but it's not quite clear what they are building. What's the plan for this particular building site? And he stops next to one of the builders and he asks him, what are you doing today? And the builder just looks at him and answers him, well, I'm laying bricks. So he goes, okay, thank you. And he walks on. And then he finds another builder and he says to him, what are you doing today? And he answers him, actually, I'm building a wall. And then he carries on walking and he finds a third builder and he says to him, what are you doing today? And this builder says to him, I am building a school for future generations of children to learn and grow and be educated so that they can contribute to the world. And I think that it really does give us a sense of perspective. And I think that this is the message of the miracle question, my 531 tool. It's really the question of perspective. You can be doing your job and thinking, okay, I'm laying bricks. And that is kind of very short-term perspective, right? Because this is what I'm doing in the here and now. I'm building bricks. And actually, you might enjoy it or you might not. It might get quite boring to build bricks. You might see it as a means to an end because you just have to do it because you don't have any other skills or whatever the case is. And then you take a little bit of a longer term perspective, and the second, as in the answer of the second builder, and then you consider what you're doing as building a wall. Okay, I'm creating something here. It's a wall. Something a bit bigger, something a bit more useful perhaps. And then with the answer of the third builder who said he's building a school, you see a totally different perspective over there, a much, much longer term perspective where he's going, actually, the bricks that I'm laying today, yes, they're building a wall. Yes, I'm laying bricks, but it's all contributing to a much bigger purpose. And that is a school that is going to serve generations to come. And I know I remember reading somewhere that some of the churches and cathedrals in Europe took hundreds of years to build. At the Notre Dame and Westminster Abbey in the UK, they took hundreds of years to build, which meant that the builders who were working on them never actually got to see the final result. But how much more meaningful is it when you know that you're working on building something that is going to stand for generations and serve a really powerful purpose? So this is the message today, is when we can look longer term, when we connect to a sense of purpose and vision of what we are doing that is so much bigger than where we are in the here and now today, with the challenges and the obstacles that are standing in our way and will continue to stand in our way, we can see things differently. We can motivate ourselves differently. We can come out of the funk that I think many of us are feeling at the moment and really imagine an awesome future today. And once we can imagine that, we can go into, okay, well then what needs to happen today if I want to create this amazing future, if I want to take this perspective of I'm building something so much bigger and greater than the here and now that I'm in at the moment. Okay, so I hope that was useful for you. And I actually now want to take it a level deeper because there is something else that comes up with this miracle question that I think is important to touch on. And that is that when we ask the miracle question, we really are inviting some magical thinking, right? We're inviting the imagination, we're inviting ourselves to look at something that may be impossible. And actually, that is or can often happen. So if you've experienced a loss, or you're having a health crisis, or you are in financial straits, those are things that are really, really difficult challenges to be sitting with. And it's not something that can easily be solved. And sometimes it could be something that would literally require a miracle for it to happen. We can't use our resources, our capabilities, our support systems to really solve it in the way that we would want if we really are asking about a miracle. So what happens if your miracle is an impossible solution? So for example, if a loved one has passed away, perhaps your miracle would be, well, I want this person to be alive. That's the miracle that I want. What we want to do is when we have a situation like that is absolutely, it's fine. Allow yourself to dream, allow yourself the magical thinking, but then we want to work with the miracle question and take it a little bit deeper. So what we want to do is we want to acknowledge that that wish is valid. Yes, for sure, I would love my loved one who's passed away to be alive today. But then we need to ask ourselves, how would that make a difference in our life? If I'm really wanting someone to be alive who isn't, how would that make a difference in your life? And then you might go to different places. You may think about how you might feel if your loved one was back again. You might say something like, I would have someone to confide in, and I would have someone who would really support and love me. And from here, we start to think of other people in your life who could begin to be that confidant in even a very small way, or obviously not to replace the lost loved one, but rather to build relationships, start looking at your resources, at your support system around you, at the people who do love and care for you, and say, how do I build relationships with those people so I can have a taste of that experience of what I'm missing? So if I'm missing someone to confide in, who do I have around me that I can maybe start to trust and build a relationship in some way so that I can confide in them and that I can get support from them? It actually allows you to look at other sources of comfort and support and actually any other resources that you may have. So this is taking the miracle question a level deeper, because when it is truly a miracle that needs to happen, then you ask yourself the question, how would that make a difference in my life? What would that give me that I don't have right now? And that gives you some clues to how you can create it, even when, unfortunately, a miracle can't happen. So I hope this was helpful to you in terms of thinking of creative ways to look at your current problems, challenges, and issues and obstacles, and to move yourself forward into a mind frame where the solution already exists. This really enables you to think more creatively, open your mind to a different way of thinking about your problems, and even possibly finding some great solutions that are hidden in there. So I want to share that a great resource, if this is interesting to you and you want to work with it a little bit more, a great resource is to get the book by Dr. Linda Metcalf. I'll put the details in the show notes. And the book is called The Miracle Question. Answer it and change your life. It really is a wonderful book, and it's got lots of questions and worksheets, and it takes you through a process if you really want to start playing with this and work with it a little bit more deeply. And I've also got a worksheet on this specifically, so if you're interested in that, pop me an email and I'll send it over to you right away. And I really hope that you've been able to take away something that can help you to start reframing some of the problems and challenges that you have in your life, to take yourself to a place where they're solved and then see if there's a solution that lies in there. And I'd always love to hear from you. So if anyone's tried it, if you've tried it, please go ahead, pop me an email, let me know how it worked for you, because I answer all the emails that I receive always, and I'd love to hear from you. And If you're a CEO and you're really good at what you do, but you're frustrated because you're constantly chasing deliverables or putting out fires, and you really, really feel that you need some miracle to create a different way to run your business so that you feel confident, you're an inspiring CEO and you have a top performing team, then I invite you to go to daphnahorovitz.com/leadership toolkit, where you can go and get a free leadership toolkit and training that actually describes some good tips that you can do in order to get to that next level of leadership where you create confidence around you, top performance around you, and you build a business that is giving you the results that you want. It's really just about creating the leadership habits that serve you, your business, and your team to drive the results you want to see. And if you're ready to work on that, go grab your free training at daphnahorovitz.com/leadership toolkit. I can't wait to see what that will do for your leadership and your business results. This wraps up another episode of Leadership Live. Thank you for joining us today. And now let's continue the conversation. Do you have any questions, comments, or suggestions? Connect with me on LinkedIn or head on to my website at daphnahorovitz.com, where you can download a free sample of my new book, Weekly Habits for Extraordinary Leaders. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with a friend so that I can continue to reach and support leaders just like you. So tune in next week to Leadership Live, where talented people become extraordinary leaders.